Is there ever a time where it makes sense to press charges against another 7th grade student your child goes to school with?
I think in this case, there definitely is.
Yeah, I think this is a very interesting conundrum for these parents. We got that story for you today.
They're crazy and insane. My crazy family.
It's an interesting thing because we're in a very, Sue happy world and all that. So a lot of times I think people do get over zealous on that, but maybe not all the time by any means. If you got a crazy family story, please send it to us. 833-CRAY-FAM, 833-272-9326, or write in at crazyfampod.com. What do we have going on?
Oh, this story, it just grabbed my attention. We'll just dive right into it. There's a lot to talk about. It says, my daughter is in 7th grade. Tony, you've got a kid. How old is a 7th grader?
I don't know. Mine's in 4th grade. So she's 10. So
10?
That would be
Maybe
like 12, 13 or so.
12, 13. Okay.
Around there. 13,
Okay.
14. Yeah.
Okay. My daughter is in 7th grade and received threatening messages from a student. He told her to commit suicide and that he'd burn her grave.
Jesus.
Fucking hell. She told him she was showing the principal and he said he didn't care. Well, here's where the story gets a little cringy. The student is very high on the autism spectrum and his parents say he was triggered and was off his meds.
Okay.
Okay. She says, I have shown the school. The student who sent the threats is not returning and has been expelled. So the school did do something. However, my daughter wants me to go to the police and press charges as she feels highly threatened. The boy's parents are begging me not to do that, but is it wrong that I don't care?
No.
It sounds like mom's like, fuck it. You threaten my child, you're going to pay the price.
I agree, but I think you have a 7th grader on the autism spectrum that said something like this. Kids say horrible shit. He didn't act out. He didn't attack anyone physically. It already been expelled. So, I mean, it sounds like there already has been, some swift punishment that has happened to this child. And I think also maybe without necessarily considering their autism that's going on. And I mean, what's going on here with the med situation? And I don't think your 7th grader understands the implications or what are you going to get charged with in this, quite honestly. He told her to commit, that's not a crime. And he'd burn her grave, hypothetically. Again, it's a 7th grader. I think I don't think you're going to, even if you wanted to press charges, what are you going to be pressing the charges on?
Yeah.
There's nothing to charge, quite honestly. So I think this might be one of those things of, you're the parent, be the parent. Your child is not the fucking boss. And yeah, it's horrible that the kid said this. At least there's some fucking context here. And it's not like the bully's just wandering around the school. You have someone who has a mental health condition that, probably doesn't understand the ramifications of their actions. I mean, fuck. I mean, there's plenty of kids at that age that would shout out when we were kids, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to do this or that. And, nobody ever killed any. Well, they do now. But, back then it was just a lot of kids saying shit. And this doesn't seem like a veiled threat.
Yeah, and it's true. But one thing I do want to point out about this, the daughter feels highly threatened. I think it's important to validate that feeling and to let her know that her feelings are valid. We don't want to coddle her. I mean, she's got a very valid concern here. She's not overreacting to something.
I think we need to teach the daughter context, though, as well, because, okay, you feel threatened. Let's talk about that and why you really probably don't need to be. And so it's not just, I mean, there's plenty of times when you're a kid, you feel some way and it turns out there's no reason you needed to feel that way. That was totally not really the appropriate reaction because you're just learning how to get through these things. Because someone feels some way.
That was a pretty awful thing that this 7th grader said to her, though.
It is. But at the same point, we're going to be going into, she's learning how to live in the world with other human beings. And there's going to be plenty of people who are going to say awful things to her. It's called life. And I don't necessarily believe it's a great lesson of, well, we already got the kid expelled. Now let's go for the kill. Let's try and press charges on this autistic kid that was off his meds. I mean, this almost seems cruel at a certain point where, like, yeah, let's keep pushing at the autism kid who said bad things.
Yeah.
Understand what fucking happened. Teach your daughter, look, some people, they think, fucking teach your daughter how people work and how people think differently and how some things are going to be inappropriate because some people have things going on with their brains that are different than your brain. Give them some context and learn how to fucking function in society, not just let's expel them and sue them.
Well, and yeah, you bring up a really good point. And what popped into my head as you were saying that is, I think being from Minnesota, everything in my world always goes back to hockey. So forgive me.
Sure.
But you have to, life is like a hockey game and we're all goalies. We all have our little area that we have to protect.
Yeah.
And we've got our shields and not our shields. Now I'm going into the Marvel universe, but we have our pads on, we have our stick and we deflect. But once in a while, the puck is going to get past us and we have to just shove it back out and move on. We have to find a way to protect our little bubble, our net. But sometimes the puck is going to get past us. We have to know how to deal with that. And this autistic kid obviously I'm hoping didn't intentionally want to harm this girl.
Yeah.
But now they have an opportunity to say, hey, this kid needs some extra attention, maybe should be back on his medication and highly monitored because something triggered him really hard. And next time we may not be so lucky that it was just a threat.
Yeah. Well, I'm telling you, if you want to get on somebody's radar that, and you really want to piss people off and you want to get on somebody that maybe is not thinking the clearest. Yeah. Let's try and get charges pressed on the autistic kid. I'm saying if you want to set yourself up for someone who's really going to hate you, go ahead, press charges, see how that works out. I don't think that that's a great idea here. In fact, if I was the parent of the autistic child who said that at this point, who's already been expelled, I'd probably countersue the parents for harassment at this point.
Yeah.
It's like he didn't say I'm going to kill you. He didn't. He was. Yes, it's not appropriate. It should have never been said. But again, context. He's autistic. Didn't understand really what he was saying. Off his meds. He's a 7th grader. Mm-hmm. So he's at the whim of his parents medicating him or creating a home where he can function correctly or as best as he can with what he's doing. And it says very high on the autistic scale. So this is, I don't know. It's getting cruel at this point of thinking, let's just keep pushing at this autistic kid. Would you do that to anybody else with another disability or mental health disability that is speaking out of turn or saying things that are really inappropriate? No, you look at it and go, they have some problems. And, let's educate our kid on that there's people that have that and we have to function in a society around them. And if it escalated, there's more threat. Yeah, sure. But it seems like this was dealt with and it's done.
Yeah. And let's change this up just a little bit. If the 7th grader didn't have autism and was just an asshole bully, you're damn fucking right. You press charges.
I think, if it's still going on, he's still in school and the bullying continues, sure. This is not bad.
You've got a mental disability here where they're not thinking the same way we do. And this might have just been, I was pissed off and I said it.
Well, and this is where the grown-up needs to be the grown-up. The 7th grade daughter is probably thinking exactly what you just said. Well, they're a bully and they said this to me. Yes, but as a parent, you can understand more of the context here of the autism and everything else that's going on. And that's where you can educate your daughter and make it more of a learning moment rather than, let's burn down the world and cancel it because someone, smudged your Puma. So it's, I don't know. It just seems like an overreaction. And there's too much of this where the parents, well, my daughter or my son said I should do this, so I'm going to do that. You're the fucking parent. Does that make any sense? Does it really make any fucking sense? Well, they really want, you're the fucking parent. So, act like one because if you don't, your child's not going to know what a parent acts like either. So you're failing them in that area too if you don't teach and give them context and, again, teach them how to function in the society of the world that's not going to always go their way and hurtful things will be said.
Absolutely. And this poor girl, yeah, that was traumatizing.
Sure.
That was really painful and it was awful and it never should have happened. But let's find a way to cope with it. Let's find a way to say, you know what, this really shitty thing happened to me, but I'm going to figure out how to deal with it. So I've got coping skills so that I can become a reasonable adult.
Yeah. Or let's sue them. Fucking people. No, I think that, I think you know how I feel on it. So, yeah.
Absolutely. No, I get it. Totally.
That's the end of that one. All right. If you got a crazy family story, we would love to hear it. You can write in at crazyfampod.com or call 833-CRAY-FAM or 833-272-9326. Get all of our stories ad-free on Apple Podcasts so you can just binge away. Sign up there to become a premium subscriber and even try it for 3 days free right now on Apple Podcasts.
My crazy family.